Every family has that awkward uncle, but not every family can say theirs is Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Our first guest today, Mary Trump, is the niece of the US president and has been so vocal in the criticism of her uncle, he's actually suing her.
Yeah,
Wow.
the author of Who Could Ever Love You, Mary Trump, joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's wonderful to be here.
So, is it a curse having that name, Trump, Mary?
It's not the name that's the curse. It's just the relatives in some cases. I actually like my name, but I've often been asked if I am going to change it, and I think he should change it, quite frankly.
Well, it's not up to you to change your name, is it? It's your name.
It's my name, yeah. It's always been.
Yeah.
Mary, take us back. What was the relationship like with that side of the family kind of growing up? Was it a good relationship? Did you see each other on weekends?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it was in the context of any family. You know, your family is normal because you don't have experience of anybody else. And we spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. We were there pretty much every weekend, and my aunts and my uncles were there often, and we'd play in the backyard with them.
So your grandfather is his father, that's the
My
connection.
grandfather is Donald's dad, and my father is Donald's older brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
OK. And so when did that relationship start to alter and fracture or change?
With me and Donald?
Yeah, well, that side of the family, I guess.
Yeah, it probably started when I found out in 1999 or 2000 that my grandfather had disinherited me.
Right.
Because my dad died when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't feel like I needed to be part of the family anymore.
So how did you find that out? What was the circumstances surrounding that?
My grandfather died when I was in my mid-30s, I believe, and I found out when I read the will.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I guess it's hard to look at it objectively after that, though, isn't it? Because that's something that, understandably, you're hurt about. So
yeah, it was hard, especially since when my dad died, since I was still a kid, Donald and my other uncle and my Aunt Marianne were my trustees, and they were supposed to kind of take care of things, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So it was a bit surprising. It was a bit of a blow. But sufficient time had passed between that and the election in 2016. So I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I wasn't still taking it personally. But his entering politics was a very separate issue from what had happened in the family.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So what is the relationship between the other members of the family now?
Well, they're really... there's only my Aunt Elizabeth left in terms of my dad's generation. And Donald's kids are much younger than I am, so obviously I knew them growing up, but we didn't grow up together because they're 12, 16, and 18 years younger.
Yeah.
So they're like a completely different generation of grandchildren, so I never really knew them.
Yeah.
So tell us about Donald. What was his personality like before he actually went in for being elected?
You know, it's really interesting. In terms of his character, he has not changed, which is kind of a dangerous sign. Like, people are supposed to evolve, and he never has. But when he was younger, he was as arrogant and as much of a bully as he is now. But there was this little spark of kindness in him. It's like he had this impulse.
As well, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this is hard for a lot of people to believe, but he still is charming, just not to most of us.
Yeah.
But his followers certainly find him charismatic.
Well, any populist leader has charm, has some charisma, right?
He's tapped into something, and we can't deny that. But, you know, he did have this instinct to be a good guy, and he actually hired me back in the early 90s to ghostwrite his second book for him, which was nice of him to do. He didn't have to do that at all. I hadn't had any experience, and I actually had a desk in his office for a few months. But, of course, because he's Donald, it wasn't working out for various reasons, so he had the publisher fire me.
Oh, my goodness. OK. So you must have found out quite a few things about him in that time writing that book.
I did, and because I was there every day, one of the things I discovered was he didn't really do very much. I would stop by into his office, and he would just be sitting behind his desk with piles of newspaper clippings about him. And he would spend his morning reading through them, and he would write notes to the reporters if it were a positive article, and he would write nasty notes to them if it were a negative article, and he would just ask me what I thought of his witty comments.
So whatever anybody says about him, he takes it very personal.
Very personally, and he reads everything about him.
It's just very odd that someone that has a job like that, it's so... what people think of them is so important, because you have to have such a thick skin if you're going to... It's such a difficult job running a country. And you have to have... So you're always going to be quite unpopular. But you have to have such a thick skin where he seems to take everything personally, and everything is going to... Like, when Starmer went over to visit him and he got the state, the invitation to come over, you could just see the whole atmosphere of that meeting just lifted immediately, because it's like, great, I'm being flattered.
Right, and that's the dangerous thing, because that's all it takes. And, there's a question, the extent to which he's actually leading anything. But one of the most important things, I think, for people to understand about Donald is there's never enough. Like, there's never enough power. There's never enough money. He's deeply, deeply insecure, and his insecurity drives everything. And the truth of the matter is, it's because the one thing he's always most wanted is the one thing he's never had and can never get, and that is to be loved, which is quite sad, except for the fact that it puts the rest of us at a great deal of risk.
Yeah. So you have your own YouTube channel. Obviously, you talk about Donald a lot. Yeah. You got your 2020 book, Too Much and Never Enough, which actually you've just touched on.
Yeah.
He said he's utterly incapable of leading the country. It's dangerous to allow him to do so. He's, in fact, got a long, sordid history of making things worse. Why do you think it is that if this is all true, so many people have bought into it? What do you think about that, the message you're selling, whether it's a valid message or not?
Right. Well, I think that's the next thing we're going to have to try to figure out, because the problem isn't Donald so much anymore. It's the people who continue to support him and enable him.
Because a lot of people do support him.
Tens of millions of people still support him. And I think there are many different reasons. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in any country, but right now in ours, who actually like the cruelty. They like that he hates the people they hate. We have a very strong strain of white supremacy and Christian nationalism in our country, and they just love all of that stuff. But then there are the low information voters who just think that, they've always voted Republican, they're going to keep voting Republican. And for Americans, the economy is always the most important issue. But we don't understand it very well. So whoever's in the Oval Office is the person who gets blamed. And last time that was Joe Biden, and people were willing to take a risk on Donald Trump.
Do you think in 3.5, 4 years' time,
do
you think there'll be a reset, or do you think that this will be a succession then? Because he can't be president again, but do you think someone in his vein will be president again, or do you think there could be a reset after this?
Yeah, and that's the other concern, because, the question is, can so-called Trumpism survive him? And I think the answer is yes, except we have an opportunity, or Democrats have an opportunity to convince people that this isn't working out well for us. And we've seen this with the economy. We see how it's affected other countries as well, with the tariffs, et cetera. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have a shot at it again. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's so interesting. It's fascinating watching him. But what is the one single most thing you want people to know about Donald Trump?
He's a nihilist, and if he thinks he's going down, he's going to bring everybody down with him. But in terms of where we are right now, the most important thing to know is there's no such thing as worst. Things will always get worse as long as he is anywhere near the levers of power.
Thanks so much, Mary.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
nice meeting you.
Really appreciate it.
You can find out more about Mary on the YouTube channel, and Mary's book, Who Could Ever Love You, is out now, and Mary's going to be at the Hay Festival. Oh, it's a great festival.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mary, for joining us.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.